Welcome to Soul Priorities. My name is Tuaca, and on this evening in Amsterdam, I am pleased to receive a guest who has made a turn in her life, devoting her time and her love, her passion for providing education to parents and others regarding vaccination. And with me today is, welcome to the show, Dr. Frankema. Pleased to have you here.
Thank you very much. I find this very exciting. It's really nice. Yes, it's wonderful.
Very, very exciting and surreal in a way, because you're probably just a few kilometers away, but here we are on the computer.
Yeah. It's really bizarre, but I mean the world is so small, and the communication between the parents and the grassroots people is so fantastic nowadays, and I'm really excited that I have the opportunity now to share again my message, because I'm indeed, as you say, I'm dedicated to bring a message in the world. And yeah, maybe can I share it immediately? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go. But I just want to say to you, a number of the people that come to me are families with vaccine-related injuries. And so this is a passion for me and a number of clients. And so when I first heard about your work and what moved you into that, I wanted you here. So I'm also excited to have you here to connect with the world, but also with Dutch speakers as well. That here's this gem right right here. So please share your message with us.
Basically, the message is that children can grow up very, very healthy without vaccines. We really don't need it. The children don't need it, and they have their own immune system that is far more intellectual, and we don't even understand it, how the body does it. To keep all these trillions of bacteria in harmony and in balance. And I love to share this message because we lived it as a family, 15 years ago. Yeah, it was so bizarre, because even in Holland, the vaccination rate is very high, because the people get such misleading information that they are all in a state of fear, and they run for the vaccines, even though there's nothing mandated. It's a choice. But if we don't get information that covers all sides of the issue, then there is no choice. Then there's only fear, and the people run because they're afraid that children will die of an infectious disease. Yeah. So,
Your first statement was, children don't need vaccines; they can be healthy without that, and it's quite a claim that I imagine some people would resist or kind of recoil from. Yeah, and including your own family, your own friends. Yeah, when you decided not to do that. So, if you can unpack that a bit and kind of bring that to this claim that there can be fine, but at the same time people are running to get vaccines.
Okay, well, what happened was that maybe where it all started was that I had the most magnificent home birth. I think that it empowers women greatly to give an unassisted birth. I felt very strong and very self-confident as a mother. And it was time to get the shots. We were just invited, and basically my gut feeling as a mother was very strong. I think mothers are extremely intuitive around the time of birth. And I went there, and I thought, well, something doesn't make sense. You have this feeling, something doesn't make sense, but you don't know what it is.
So you actually went to the doctor's office?
Oh, yes, of course. So I went there.
You had your first child, you were due for the shots, you went there, you're holding your child, and what conversation took place with you and the doctor? And how old was your child at this time?
The child was the first time in Holland. You are a couple of weeks, I think 3 weeks or something like that, and then the information starts. And the information you get is only about the diseases. The diseases are horrible, and your child can get paralyzed, or it's a very the information installs fear.
Yeah.
But
So
these
are the diseases that the vaccines are supposed to protect the child from.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then I went home, and it just didn't feel good, but she didn't get any shot yet. And I don't believe really in coincidence. I believe my whole life I got exactly the experience I need, that I can talk about it now from my own personal experience.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what happened, yeah, this is the way it goes. But what happened was I, by accident, got an article that said something about, you know, other ingredients. And I read it and I thought, my God, these are chemicals, and I got a very big fright. And so I thought, this can't be true. That was my first reaction. It can't be true. And I went to this back to the pediatrician, and I said, well, you know, this can't be true. I mean, this is whatever this alternative media who's you know, spreading crap towards us. And she said she was a bit uncomfortable, but she did say, well, you know, there are some chemicals in there, but it's only minute quantities, and there's nothing to worry about, and it's very well researched, and blah de blah. And all my alarm bells went red. It was like, I can't believe it. Who would do this? And so I asked her, I said, would you inject this into your own child? Because I couldn't believe that any mother would do that.
That's an important question.
Yeah, it was like my last attempt to be in alignment with her, because this was the woman who's supposed to take care of the health of my child.
Sure,
so
sure.
I want to be friends with her. I want her to like me, and I want, you know, so I wanted to make I thought, well, she was going to say, yeah, it may be naive, but I thought she was going to come out then and say, look, I wouldn't do it, so let's just not talk, no, we don't talk about it, but I'm just going to let you pass by. You know, it's like
yeah.
And it was so funny. She said to me, she said, yes, I would do that, because this is our policy, and I follow the policy.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know, we had this one long second where I looked her in the eye, and I thought, well, your policy, lady, well, if I want to be rude, I would say to hell with it. I mean, this is my baby, you know. We're not going to inject this. And I looked at her and I said, well, this is not going to work between us. And I picked up the baby and I walked out. I said, you'll never see me back here again.
Yeah.
And then it only started because I came home, and it was so beautiful. I went to the office, and I was full of trust, and I was full of intuition, and everything went well. My breastfeeding, everything, the diapers, you know, it was perfect. And I come back, and I was in a state of fear. I was looking around me, and I thought, now I have an unprotected child. Like,
yeah.
Looking back, I think, crazy. Sorry, yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that, because all of the peer pressure, like I'm sure your family and friends had some ideas. I'm sure that you heard many opinions about your decisions and concerns. And when, you know, it can be inundated with opinions, you know, there could be some questions that come up for you about that. And was that a part of your process, or were you just...
Oh. Absolutely. I came home, and the only thing I could say, I said to my husband, I said, she didn't get the shots. And he said, why would we expose the child to these horrible diseases when only the shot could prevent all the trouble in the world? And I could only say, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It was only my feeling, my gut feeling. Yeah. And I soon found out that we live in a society that doesn't accept it doesn't feel good. The intuition of a woman was not enough. You know, it was like, what are the facts? And basically, I got so much criticism, and it is very hard for a mother, if you're just a mother, a couple of weeks, and I had never thought about it before, and I just didn't know anything about vaccines apart from this one article and apart from my own intuition. It's very hard to withstand all the pressure around you, and also because you have your night feedings, and you know, it's so overwhelming to become a mother. So it was very hard time. I must admit, it was, looking back, I think, whoa, that was the hardest, probably the very start.
Yeah, and if people are looking for an explanation, you know, something to kind of land on, and you yourself are not educated about it, you know, formally in any way. You just like it because this feels good and I'm committed to that, and there can be some shaky moments because of this confrontation, you know, that's coming. But you had the article, and that led you forward into educating yourself on the history of vaccines and what they do, what they don't do.
That absolutely. That's where it started, because I kept on saying it doesn't feel good, but that was not enough, obviously. And I had to look for things, but there was not so much material, and that is why I basically landed on the American articles. In Holland, we had, you know, 15 years ago, we were so trusting the system. I was always reading more, and I was always basically talking about it. I learned it in that sense the hard way, to get attacked, and you start looking again, and I get attacked again, and I start looking again. But the information that I dug up, I just couldn't believe it. I thought, this is incredible. It's so dark. It is so horrible. And but of course, for me, reading all this, it became very clear and very solid. But my surrounding was still totally believing and totally looking at me as a misfit, weird mother, you know. It's almost a child protection agency. Actually, I did get things about it, you know.
I'm sure you've had some interesting conversations, you know. And speaking of that, because I know some people who are you know, facing that as well. You know, Child Protective Services, you know, they get a phone call that you're not vaccinating your children. And you know, they are also kind of in the system with the theory or with the understanding, because it's, you know, it's dogmatic in a way, you know, and formulaic. So if they feel that you are harming your child by not protecting them with vaccines, then they have their movement to protect your child the way they see fit. What happened with this clash?
Well, in order to...
I mean, did you call Superman to take them away? How did you handle that?
No, I think, you know what happened? I tell you exactly what happened. In the beginning, I was very... I was attacked and followed and all that. But as I say, my trust as a mother was very strong. Yes. The children were fine. They were totally breastfed, and I was home. I stopped working and I was at home, and I just looked at the children, and basically also to my surrounding, I said, well, look, if there's going to be any problem, I can still go and get the vaccine. I sort of kept on postponing it until I said, well, when I need them, I'll go and get them. So there was this sort of in-between answer. But what happened, and this is really fabulous, is that all the children around me, they had allergies, they had problems, they had so many things going on. And my children were fine and healthy and didn't get polio and all that. And so after a while, the people were looking at me. First they say, well, what you do, this can't be okay, you know. But when they saw that my children were very healthy, they became interested to know, how do you do it? How do you keep them healthy? Because up until today, they have never seen their doctor. We registered somewhere, but it's not because we didn't like her, but we never needed her. We just, the children just got their childhood diseases. Their immune system is like, you know, fierce and strong, and like they have a very good sense of when the body needs something. I mean, really something. Basically, what I also did when there was a disease, in the beginning I thought, oh my God, there's a fever. Oh boy, what do I do next? And this, that, and the other. But I started to see that the children, they don't make a drama of it. They just vomit and do their thing and they go on.
Yeah.
You know, and it's my fear. And so when I realized that
very great distinction and observation on your part. It's like discerning what your story is, your fear, your concern, your passion, your agenda, and what someone else's process is, and not kind of projecting that on them. So really good distinction on your part. Go, Mom.
And so the end result is that my daughter will say, look, Mom, I think I'm going to have a day off. And she would stop before, where I still have a problem, quite frankly, because I'm busy and I push and it's really difficult for me to listen to my body. But the children, they basically, they got this sort of pep talk from me all the time when they, you know, when they were vomiting or something. I said, look at all this yuck material, you know, no wonder your body wants to get rid of it. And if there was diarrhea on a sheet, I said, well, look, here's the laundry machine. We don't make a fuss of it ever. Just do your thing. I'm there for you. I hold you. They become lovely and cuddly and warm, and I had a sort of day of connecting with them, and you just move through it with them, and basically it gives an incredible, beautiful bonding, because the children know that you are there for them, and they know
feel closer with themselves.
Exactly, and they learn to trust their bodies, and they learn also where is the limit of the body. But basically, they both have a very good connection with the physical body, like
very great,
boundaries.
very great,
beautiful.
That's definitely a practice. And all the touching upon what you said about information, what information is available in Europe and what information is available in the Netherlands, and also looking at that compared to what information is available in the U.S. And I know, you know, having experiences in both countries, you know, that. You know, one being my mother home, one being my father home, you know, in a way.
Yeah, great.
That I would say that some of the beneficial aspects of allopathic medicine are incredibly advanced in the U.S. And there is also a large contingency of what's considered alternative health. I use that phrase loosely because I feel that the only alternative to health is illness. So you know, health is health, you know, period. But, you know, naturopathic doctors and, you know, what have you, that list that do not advocate, you know, vaccines. And I have a number of colleagues and friends that are, you know, pioneers in that field particularly. Your process of culling the information from the U.S., different published materials, how have you kind of put that together to understand it, to bring forward giving lectures here in Amsterdam in the Netherlands? Is this what you're doing now?
Yeah, now finally I got a hand of the American material before the Dutch, and I remember showing graphs of Nielsen Miller, you know, with the decline in the measles and da-da-da-da-da, and I didn't have the Dutch figures, but, you know, and so I started doing that, and I love the, there's a lot of material, and I always feel that I stand on the shoulders of other mothers, and now other mothers stand on my shoulders, and we just go on and on and on. But of course now I am more oriented towards the Dutch situation, and the book I wrote is also for the Dutch people. But it's like it's the main thing is to trust your gut, and then to inform yourself, because nobody, you have to do it yourself. You have to invest yourself, because you're not going to get it via the newspapers or the television or even your mother or friends often, you know.
Well, your children probably get it from their mother.
Yes.
They grew up hearing it.
Yes, yes, and they, of course, they for them it's so totally normal, you know. They tell their friends, like, "What on earth are you injecting in your veins? You know, what are you doing here?" It's like
it's important, and the information is for everybody, and information has its own migration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's another thing. It's like I would say that supplements are beginning to emerge here.
Yeah.
Where they've been in use, like with regular practice for 50 some odd years. So there's another understanding of things. There's also beautiful earth medicine that's here. You know, that Americans and Canadians and across the pond, basically Americans are Europeans, just a generation or two removed. But where that earth medicine is traveling. So this energy exchange also informs the cultural exchange, but how these things are embraced have their own process.
And it's so it's so beautiful also that for me there is the distinction about the knowledge that is fortunately still present, and it's fortunately also there is a whole lot of knowledge present in our own bodies, and it's so because I tell the mothers, I know very well what is okay for my children, but not what is okay for your children. You really have to go inside and listen, and then you will know what will resonate like true, and you will recognize your own truth, and that is the path you need to follow. But I find what we do in the schools, that, like many doctors, for me, they do their work with the best intentions and a lot of love, but they are cut off. It's all in the head. Like all the information is coming from outside and is in the head, and it should come from inside. There should be in healing. There should be a part of it is also intuitive, and so I'm very interested in all these knowledge or wisdom that is present in the field, and also in the mothers.
Well, doctors being humans too, there are some beautiful doctors that do think for themselves and embrace humanity and see people and do their best to see people as individuals. So they do exist.
Of course.
Yeah, they do exist, and it is a process, and very much of that is very much of kind of the opposite of that. Following the textbook is very much drilled into them and indoctrinated into them and into their school. But what is the in terms of your lectures that you provide? What's the kind of turnout or interest or support, and who's your audience? Are mothers coming? Are fathers coming? Are school leaders coming? Like, who comes? What's your party about?
Okay, well, it's the first. I think it is so wonderful that at the moment mothers and fathers are coming. When I started to do this work, I was almost going to say I talk now for 15 years, because I started right at the beginning. There was only mothers, and I don't know why. I just think this is my mission. I can't say it otherwise, but I always felt so strongly like I have to talk because I have the experience. So I have to talk. I can't shut up. I mean, that would be a crime in my book. So I have to talk. But then there was
I understand that.
You do? Oh, fantastic.
I absolutely understand that.
Yeah, and also I think the mothers now, on Facebook, I say, with this knowledge, we have to spread it. We have to spread it, because it's, I think the change is coming from bottom up and inwards out. It's not coming from above, in my opinion. It really is us who I love also like this show, where the people sort of have a platform to share experiences, because I trust so much the experience of the mothers and the people. I always say, oh, this is a wonderful experience. I have to write it down and then see if we can share it, because the people they recognize themselves in the other person, And if they recognize themselves, then they feel they're not alone. And I think a way of that the system can continue as it does is because of the isolation. You know, a mother who has a vaccine-damaged child, she goes to the office, and the doctor very often says, well, it can't be the vaccine because our, you know, information or documentation or science doesn't support it. And so she sometimes goes back believing the doctor, and then the cause remains unknown, but very often in the heart of heart at the bottom, the people know it. We can no longer deny it, that there's many people who have many children who have serious problems after the vaccination.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And this piece about community is crucial. To have that, and as you were saying, to share experiences and to kind of see reflections. But not only that, it opens up the space to also see possibilities. You know, to appreciate. And when you touch upon, I mean, the word autism is a misnomer. It's not appropriately named. Yeah. But well, I'll borrow that for now. But autism and, you know, other things, behavioral issues, whatnot, that are, you know, related, experientially related, and parents know that this is the thing. You know, as I said, I work with a lot of those families, a lot of those children, to you know, to assist them with reclaiming their body. But this you know, this piece that you know, also kind of giving energy to and support to is community. So when this mom feels absolutely overwhelmed, you know, because it's one thing to be a parent, you know, that it's a full-time everything. And then, you know, if there's, you know, other factors, you know, that can be absolutely overwhelming for a family. And to meet another family or another community and see, like, you know, that, you know, how are they living their life? You know, where are they getting their humor? You know, when do they have sex? When do they go on dates? When, you know, how do you get a babysitter to you know, do this? I mean, just how do you have a social life? Exactly. It's tremendous. Yeah. And so what you're you know, doing by bringing community together, and it's a specific demographic, mind you. It's really important. So I'm, you know, glad to find you here, and hope other people that are watching, and they can, you know, also make these connections. Because it's such a small world in a, you know, with the social media. I mean, it's like poof, we're everywhere. Eh? It's fantastic. And also, indeed, you don't have to live it all nowadays, because the people they live it, and then we can just tap into their information. I find it lovely when there's a question on Facebook, there's like 30 reactions, and there's like a fruit bowl, you know, you could do this, or we tried that, or that, and the people can just you know, they can just pick what they feel is appropriate for them. So I love it. It's wonderful. Spawning ideas. When does your first? This is your first book come out, right? Your first. Yes. When does it come out?
Well, it's so exciting. It will be September, October, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's I must say, it never stops in a sense, but I have to make it stop now. But there's a whole mission behind the book too. Yeah, honestly, there's a whole mission, because the mission of the book is basically is also the story. Like the information is there, but for me there's a lot of interview, and it's the expertise in the field. There is a whole lot of expertise in the field, which I find very powerful, very powerful. What the people told me, give me goosebumps. It's like, whoa, this is the real stuff. This is the real stuff.
Very great. You have a great resource list of material on your website. It's vaccinvrij.nl.
Yes. It's unfortunately I started to translate it. Also, that I would love to have it in English. It's hopefully I will get that together. So, but
have a couple, like I know you know this one.
Yeah.
Callous disregard, that's listed on your site, right?
Yes.
So we're, building our library here as well. Dancing Cats, Silent Canaries, lots of tremendous books. Again, a great list on your website, so people can check that out. And some of the books that you have on there are also written in Dutch, so that's helpful. Yeah, and yours will be as well.
Yeah, and it's like on the Facebook page, there's an awful lot in English too, because there's still so many articles. They're interesting. Yeah, now I realize it. I'm still very focused on the English-speaking countries as well, because there's so much beautiful websites, and I feel a bit guilty that I tap into all these websites and all the energy of the people who bring together such beautiful information, and they can't share it. I can't share it back. But on Facebook, it's like I would say almost 3/4 English, because the Dutch are very good with English language. So nobody is surprised if I dump half of the English knowledge on the.
The Dutch are good with languages. Period. That's the Dutch rock. In the language department, the Dutch absolutely dominate.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Languages and tango.
yeah, because we're so small, such a small country, and we want to travel. We love travel, so we need to. Nobody speaks Dutch, also.
The neighbors.
Yes, exactly.
To the left, it's English. To the right, it's German. To the south, it's French.
Exactly.
So and
in Amsterdam, because you live in Amsterdam too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 167 nationalities in Amsterdam. I realized, on less than 1 million people. I just read it. So we have all the languages here. So we need English to connect, to be one.
And that is a common one, and that's that many people to also educate, when they're open to hearing about the information about vaccines, because every parent is going to have to make that decision, and every physician is also going to, have their own morals touched and find ways, that's safe for them to offer information, much like the longing that you had 15 years ago, wanting to have some kind of warmth or heart connection with the doctor, and like kind of being your friend and leveling with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that when we move forward into conscious choice rather than intimidation, and it's not a law, but a conscious choice, and that's open and that's transparent, then physicians can also be in their morality with their practices. This is what the medical board recommends for children at these ages, and these are the ingredients. This is how I feel about it. Mom, it's your decision. Dad, it's your decision, and communicate that. Then there's freedom of choice, because the consciousness is there to support it. So that's really important. I appreciate your work, and I have one more question for you. 15 years. Do you know the expression "a dog with a bone"?
A dog with a bone.
Yes. It's like you give a dog a bone, and they're just gnawing on it. And they won't let go. They're like kind of it's an expression to indicate determination.
Exactly. Yeah.
In a way, so you're like a dog with a bone. With your.
Well, thank you. I find it wonderful compliment, but you know what? I think also that the dog loves the bone, obviously.
Yes.
And I want to say that, I think I had a hard road to walk, genuinely. It was not easy, but compared to people who have problem with their children or health, it's way difficult. But I think in the end, if you go through that, you learn so much of it, and I became so stronger and so more. So much more standard. So I love every minute of it. I won't let go of the bone. Never.
That's clear. That's so clear. But 15 years later, your family and the friends that are still kind of active in your life, friendships change over time, but the family and your loved ones, how has their view shifted over the years, watching you progress in your discovery, in your education, in your movement, watching their grandchildren, their nieces, watching them be full and healthy? How has their view shifted or not, and how is their support for you grown?
Well, there's, of course, some people, they change like 180 degrees totally, and that is very nice. And there's in that sense there's support. But for me, what comes more is that, especially on my Facebook group, I feel real love, really love the people. They love, and they like, I'm so touched by the mothers. They give. They share their experience so freely, and they're so grateful to each other, and they're grateful to me for putting in the time and the effort and the energy. That we have a real, like, and to get that back is wonderful. And some people, they just withdraw and they say, you're nuts and you'll be nuts forever. But I don't mind. It's not a problem. It says something about them, not about me. That's okay.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. So for your following on Facebook and the folks on your website, if you'll give a message of love or appreciation and how to find you, and do this one in Dutch for your countrymen and women.
Okay. How to find me? Well, it's very simple. Vaccinvrij.
In Nederlands, alsjeblieft.
Oh, vaccinvrij _ vaccine free. It's in double. It's vaccinvrij, vaccine free in 2 words. So.
Okay, and a message of appreciation for them?
The message, I love you all. I'm excited to no longer do this on my own, and I say it often. I'm incredibly proud of you all, because we make the change, and we're going to shift the consciousness in Holland, and it's going to happen. It's happening. It's happening.
All right.
So I'm just thrilled.
Rock and roll. That's really great.
And maybe because sorry. Can I say one more thing for the women abroad, that I so much stand on the shoulders of everybody, like every woman who shares and who helps, and every man too, obviously, who helps to spread this. I think we do this for each other and for the world and for our children. So I'm grateful to everybody who wants to invest time and energy to bring about the message of what they experienced, because that is the most powerful message we can give to the world, is our own story.
Yeah, very well. And with that, the ultimate message, the ultimate question comes up too. So one more, not just is how you feel your soul is informing your life work.
My soul.
Yes.
I love the word. For me, the buzz phrase is embodiment of the soul. I want to live my soul. I want to live my heart. I don't want to live what the world is dictating to me. I'd rather be the only one in the world as long as I live my soul. But guess what? We are so many. It's just like, we're so many. It's like one big, I don't know what it is, but I feel the family is finding each other. We find each other. And so it's just a matter of just hanging there. And yes, the soul is very dear to me. Inspiration and love is what's driving me. And also what is getting bigger and stronger by living it. And yeah, I love that. It's beautiful to, for me, my life has meaning now. It has meaning.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Beautiful. Dora, dankjewel.
Dankjewel for, for inviting me. It's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your work.
you.